Welcome to the Quantum Revenue Expansion Podcast. My name is Ursula, and I'm a sales expert, strategic business coach, and USA Today bestselling author. I love sharing strategies that show you exactly how to turn your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. If you're looking to take a quantum leap in your revenue or sales, your team, your productivity, your success, and your life, then you are meant to be here. My goal in every episode is to help you take your belief that it's possible to 2x or 10x your revenue while working way less to knowing that it is happening right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Quantum Revenue Expansion, where we talk about turning your annual revenue into your monthly revenue. I'm your host, Ursula, super excited to be hanging with you today. This is another solo show, just you and me hanging out, having a conversation. And today we're going to talk about how a 25-hour work week can actually grow your sales. Again, how a 25-hour work week can actually help you grow your sales. I know it sounds super counterintuitive, and you're like, I want to work 25 hours of work a week, Ursula, but how in the heck does that actually support me in making more sales, making more money? And while that doesn't seem like it goes together, it really does. And I'm going to pull it apart today to really help you understand and see how this can help you. If you love this topic and you've been thinking for a while, like, wow, I wish I could work 25 hours a week and make more, then you're definitely going to want to join us, because on October 16th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Mountain. Sorry, that wasn't in order. Rebecca Hall, Master Coach Rebecca Hall, and I are hosting a free webinar, the 5 steps to create your freedom schedule, work 25 hours a week or less, and still double your monthly sales. So during that training, we're going to help you master the 5 most critical steps every business leader like you needs to go from being in the hustle to really leading with ease. And we're offering this training because in the 2 decades, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much time. I've been doing this, working with entrepreneurs, business leaders. What I found is that by honing in on a freedom schedule, 25 hours a week is kind of that sweet spot that a lot of our clients want. By honing in on that and creating that freedom schedule, you create a domino effect into every other area of your business. It's like that one thing. It's that lever that when you pull that lever, it has an impact on everything else and increases your sales, increases your profit. It's like the thing. It's like the thing. So again, that's October 16th. We will have the link in the show notes. You are going to want to be there live because there's going to be laser coaching. We're really going to be supporting everyone who shows up. I'm sure we're going to have some cool things that we're giving away as well. Like you're just going to want to be there and in the energy of it, especially with other business owners that are making it happen. So definitely check it out. We'll talk about things like how to shave 10 hours off your work week, how to create a simple plan to double your sales, how to design a delegation plan, which I know a lot of people struggle with, how to focus on only your genius work versus all the other stuff that's taking up your time, and how to use automation and systems. Using automation and systems is going to be worth you showing up because we have so many cool tools that we use in my business now that Trisha uses behind the scenes, that Rebecca uses, that I use, that just make doing business so much easier. And I don't know about you, but for me, like I love delegating. It is one of my superpowers. And I recognize that it's not easy for everyone. I also recognize that as a business owner, entrepreneur, it's not easy in the beginning. Like learning to delegate is the hardest thing. Once you start delegating though, it's like an addiction. You can get super addicted to delegating because it's like a sport, right? Because I love finding people that are 100 times better than me at whatever the thing is that I need help getting done. Whether that's writing copy, whether that's a sales page, a web page, whether that's setting up phone calls, whether that's producing our podcast. The tools that we have now are so genius. So anyway, if automation and delegation are of interest as well, like we're we're going to cover so much in the webinar. Again, that's October 16th, the 5 steps to create your freedom schedule, work 25 hours a week or less and still double your monthly sales. Like that in itself just sounds so exciting, doesn't it? It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. I've been talking about it. I've been thinking about it. And it's like bringing all the juicy things we do with our clients at the CEO table into one spot. So you want to be there. It's in the link below. Get registered. I was talking to Trisha. We have to figure out, we know this, like we do a free webinar. A lot of people register and a certain percentage show up. Okay. Maybe you know that, maybe you don't. We've been doing these things for a while. What we've known, like during the time of COVID, the show rates for free webinars was just skyrocketing because everybody was sitting at home and everybody had Zoom, right? So that was an amazing time to have free webinars. As time has gone on, it's kind of leveled out. And so we will keep an eye. My whole point is like, we have to limit the webinar at some point because I have to be able to see everybody that's hanging out with us live. And there's a specific formula that Trisha follows in terms of how many people can be there. So we will let you know when registration closes. In the meantime, it's open. Get registered. First come, first serve. We want to see your name on the list. So that's what we'll say about that. But today we're going to talk about it kind of a high level, like just how can a 25-hour work week really grow your sales? Okay, I'm just going to say like one of our clients at the CEO table who comes to mind, who's been on the show is Melissa Swink. She's going to come back. She's going to be on the show next week as well. So stay tuned for that. And Melissa really, she's in the virtual assistant business. So she helps clients do this all the time by giving them team members who they can delegate to. So this is kind of her sweet spot. So I love it when she also talks about how she created her own 25-hour work week. And she didn't have that in the beginning. None of us did, right? All of us, when we started our business, we were like working way too much all the time, working, right? Feeling frustrated, often feeling like we created a job. I remember like my first year in business, we lost money. I definitely remember losing money. I worked all the time. I worked like a corporate schedule, right? It was like 8 to 10 hours a day at my desk, not even moving around. I mean, back then things weren't as mobile as they are today. You know, it wasn't as easy to pick up and go work at a coffee shop, which I love to do. I love to do writing at a coffee shop. That's kind of a sweet thing for me. It wasn't like even the phones that we had. I mean, for some of you who are watching this, you're like, what? No, like we weren't as mobile. It wasn't as easy to just kind of go work anywhere. And so we were trained, like I was trained to sit at my desk and just work 8 to 10 hours a day. It didn't matter like what I was doing. That's the funny part. Like when I look back, it didn't matter what I was doing. It was just like working, just sitting there, sometimes just sitting there doing busy work. That was the habit, right? So I had been trained by corporate America, which was brilliant on corporate America's part, right? They trained us to sit at our desk and at least appear to be working. Later, statistically, we found out, right? Like that some of you probably remember the statistic. Only like when we were working in corporate America, only about 2 hours a day of our work was actually productive work. The rest of it, I don't know what we were doing, right? If we could sneak away from our desk and find a friend to go talk to, that was a big deal. But you were always being watched. Like you were all, like if you've seen The Office, like, you know, you were always someone always knew where you were and you could get written up for like just not sitting here. Like it was just different time. I share that because I know I'm not alone in that mentality. And even if you entered corporate America later than I did, there's still that. And I feel like that culture of corporate America is kind of coming back. And so there's this tendency, right? Even if you do have your mobile workplace now and you're sitting at a coffee shop and you're like really jamming through your work, there's still this tendency to work way more hours than we need to, or to give ourselves a feeling of productivity so that we kind of feel good about what we're doing when what we're doing isn't moving our business forward. In fact, it's probably keeping your business stuck exactly where it is. And frankly, that's just your comfort zone keeping you safe, right? That's just that ego part of you that's keeping you safe. And it keeps you safe by saying, okay, if I sit here and I sit on email long enough today, I'm going to feel better, like I did something, and I can sleep tonight. But then the question to ask yourself is, did I do anything that really moved my sales forward? And often the answer is no. And this is not about judgment. This is about a hack that we've developed that can really support you in bringing in the sales that you desire. So let's do a little bit of thinking about this for a moment. Okay. And if you're driving, of course, you're not going to be writing. And if you're hanging out with me on the treadmill, hello. I know some of you do that and I love it. You don't have to be writing. You can do this in your head. For those of you sitting at your desk or somewhere where you can kind of take some notes, I recommend you do take some notes and kind of just, pencil this out for yourself so that you can start to see where some of your patterns might be and what you really might, want to change. Okay. First and foremost, think about time. We put so much pressure on ourselves with this thing called time. And when you ask somebody how you're doing, and I know I do this, I've done this, we say, when someone's like, hey, how are you doing? They're like, I'm busy. Or you say, I'm busy, right? I'm super busy. Super busy. We are a society, at least in the West, that really rewards busyness. Probably other places in the world as well. We reward what looks like productivity. We don't necessarily reward when someone goes on vacation. We don't reward. We're not like, oh, good. We kind of are. We're like, oh, good for you. But secretly we're like, wow, how could they take that much time off? Right. We just came back from a trip and we were gone 16 days. I don't even know, more than that maybe. And when people asked me about it, I could tell they were like, how could you be gone that long? What was that really like? And in other countries in the world, it's not unusual, right, to take a month off, especially in Europe. And so we can be very envious, or there's other places that have sabbaticals, and that's a thing that they push, right? Here in the West, it's kind of you brag about not taking time off. You're rewarded for that. But the question is, how does that really serve us? And it doesn't. It definitely doesn't serve us. It just leads to stress. As we know, it can lead to health challenges. It can lead, it definitely doesn't lead to growing your business most of the time. And I'm not saying that there's always outliers, always, right? So some of you are thinking, I work all the time and I'm doing really well. Okay, that's fair. There's people that love that. There's people that, that for whatever reason, that's where they want to be right now. And I get that. I respect if that's you, that's awesome. There's no judgment here. If you want to work 100 hours a week, good for you. That's up to you, right? But for some of you, that's not what you want, right? So looking at time, what is time? It's a construct that we make up. And then depending on our social programming, we decide how many hours a day we're supposed to work, not supposed to work, what we're supposed to do with our time, what we're not supposed to do with our time, when to feel guilty about time, when to shame ourselves about time, just all of that, which can be overwhelming. And then you listen to a podcast like this, and I'm offering you up this idea that working a 25-hour work week could actually grow your sales. And it sort of turns everything on its head, because it's well, that doesn't really make sense, because I only have been taught that working hard and working more hours leads to my success. But when we start to peel it apart, you'll see that turning your schedule on its head opens the door for you to only focus on your genius activities and to begin to delegate those things that you're not good at. And to really face it, let me tell you something. There are about 1 million things that I'm not good at, and I'm super proud of that. Rebecca Hall calls me the queen of delegation. She used to tease me, she used to tease me all the time about how I would delegate everything. I even used to delegate making name tags for events that we had. At the time, we were having them in Minnesota. And so someone on my team, our team in California, would make the name tags and ship them to me. And the shipping was not super expensive, but it was another cost, right? And Rebecca was always like, why do you pay for that? Why don't you just do it yourself? Well, I know what my time is worth. And I also know how long it would take me to figure out how to make the name tags. I am so not interested in that. My brain doesn't care about that. I'm not like creative in that way. I'm not interested in figuring out how the technology would do that. And you might be thinking, wow, you're so lazy, or how could, maybe even a little dim, right? And then I would have to go ask my husband, because I really don't want to do it. Like at the end of the day, it's like, I don't want to have to figure it out. I don't actually even want to do it. Okay. And if I asked him, he's going to be like, oh, like he's in technology. He deals with everybody else's technology stuff all day long. So when I ask him, he's kind of like done. He's like, oh, like it's the last thing he wants to do. So I could sit there and judge myself and say, oh, like I should be able to make the name tags, or I can recognize that I don't like doing it. And that's enough of a reason. I'm also not good at it in the sense of I don't like figuring out technology. That's not how my brain works. I'd rather be thinking about marketing ideas. I'd rather be thinking about how we can help our clients. I'd rather be thinking about creating things like a profit calculator. Or we're creating this new thing now where you can actually put parts of your sales script into this page that we're creating, this application, and it's going to spit out, it's going to create a customized sales script for you, right? Like that is exciting to me. Figuring out how to print name tags, not even interesting. Fast forward over the years, and even things like Christmas addresses have become something I outsource. All right. So that just gives you an idea of how my brain works, but also how I've trained my brain to not do tasks that do not move the business forward. And as a CEO, that's what I'm saying to you. It's time to get those tasks off your plate that do not move the business forward, and to do it without shame, without guilt, without like forcing yourself, but just like feeling good about it. Just feel good about delegating. In fact, every time you delegate something, I want you to celebrate the heck out of that. Just celebrate that. It's like celebrate the fact that you've gotten something off your plate, because I guarantee you, when you do that, you're going to feel so good. And that's how your business starts to grow. Why 25 hours? Well, it's 5 hours a day, right? So some of our clients work like 20 hours a week or less. Some of them say they work 25, and I actually think it's less than that, which is fine. Like that's all, good. We kind of have this marker of 25. A lot of our clients are parents, so they have to drop their kids off. I've heard, like the hours of 9 to 3 or 9 to 2. 9 to 2, that's a sweet spot, I like 9 to 2. It's kind of my sweet spot. It's like I get to drop Luca off. I'm available to pick him up. And frankly, after 1 o'clock, my caliber of work goes way down. So even the stuff that normally in the morning, like this is what I can do a recording in the morning all day long. 3 o'clock, not so good, right? So I know that about myself. But this is the piece. Like, first of all, picking the hours that work best for you. Some of our clients who don't have children, or whose children are grown, they like working later in the day. Like they just have different schedules, or super early in the day and done by noon, or whatever. There's no judgment. The question to ask yourself is, how many hours do I want to work a day? That's where you start. And 25 is just kind of that sweet spot. Okay. Now, the next step is to like really plan out your intentional schedule. Plan it out. And, if it's a 9 to 2 schedule, take an Excel spreadsheet and actually build out 9 to 2, 9 to 2, 9 to 2, 9 to 2. We have another client who's 9 to 2, 4 days a week, takes every Friday off. Okay. Sometimes maybe works longer days on the 4 days, but essentially, maybe they work, a 10 to 2 or a 9 to 2, and they work a couple hours in the evening to make up for the Friday that they don't work. So they're still kind of hitting 25 hours, up to them. All right. But that's the first step. Once you've built that 25-hour work week, then it's time to look at what's my genius work versus what I need to get off my plate. And this is really the next important step. And it's a lot of the work we do with our clients. at the CEO table is helping them get crystal clear on what they should be doing versus what they should be outsourcing. An easy example is bookkeeping. If I hear from a client that they're doing their own bookkeeping, I am just challenged with that, because you can find profit first bookkeepers who follow Michael, or they're trained in Michael Malkovitz's work, Profit First. And so they're super focused on, your profitability. I think you've heard me talk about them here, which is amazing. And probably 3 to 5 hours a month, $30 to $50 an hour. They can not only get your bookkeeping done, but create like a report card for you so you can see the health of your business. And a report card, different than a P&L report, different than your normal financials, but an overall, like, here's where you are, here's where you want to go, really digging into the detail of that. So that's just off the top of my head. That's the first place I would go. Does everybody do that? No. In fact, sometimes I'll hear clients, they delegate it and then it kind of falls back on their plate. It's like, no, find someone. I like checks and balances in accounting, just a side note. So bookkeeping is separate from your CPA and your tax work, right? Tax strategy, separate things, checks and balances for different professionals to be looking in, as well as you to be looking at what they're putting together, someone on your team to be looking at it, checks and balances to make sure the money is all there, it's going to the right places, you understand your financials, your profitability. I'll say, like, that at a minimum is going to take, what takes a professional 3 to 5 hours a month is going to probably take you 10 hours a month, because you're also going to agonize over it. You're going to ask people it's such a waste of your time. And a lot of times our clients want to get 10 hours of a week back. And so that's where we start is with bookkeeping. But then you might say to yourself, I don't know. Or to me, Ursula, I don't know what else I want to get off my plate. Here's my little hack for that. Here's something you could do. You could actually pause this recording right now and do it, to create a list. Write a list of all the things that you are tolerating doing in your business right now. All the things that you're tolerating doing, like, for example, bookkeeping, which we talked about, maybe client onboarding, maybe client follow-up, maybe client contracts. Some of you are like, Ursula, are you looking into my business right now? Did you look in my email? Yes. No, I didn't. But this is just stuff that I see on the regular. Email. Did I mention email? Some of you are like, oh, I could never have anyone handle my email. Totally feel you on that. And I'll tell you, not having my email when I was on vacation in August for more than half of a month was extraordinarily freeing. Now, and then when I came back, I was like, I don't even know if I want to keep managing my email. There's certain things I need for my email, but like a lot of it I have gotten off my plate. So email is something that could be delegated, or parts of your email. What else are you tolerating doing? Maybe you're doing all the marketing and copywriting. Let me tell you something. Between AI and copywriters that you can find on Upwork or Fiverr, they're everywhere. I bet you could save yourself tens and tens of hours. And it doesn't mean that you're not overseeing it. You're always overseeing your marketing. You're overseeing the writing. I still want you to look at it, right? You might get to a point though with a certain copywriter when they're just nailing it. I will say Trisha on our team uses copywriting. She uses AI and past copy that we've written kind of for flow. We model things. And it's gotten to the point where her copywriting, what she creates and how she works with AI is so powerful that sometimes now I look at it, I'm like, it's perfect. Like, there's nothing I would change. I never dreamt that we would get to that point. However, technology is really helping us get there. So it's one of your tasks when you finish this recording is to simply make a list of all the things that you're tolerating and decide what you're going to let go of. When you do that, and you start to see your delegation list, you can start to work on your genius work, which we haven't talked about. Your genius work is the things that only you as the CEO should be focusing on, probably related to marketing and sales and really leading that, or doing some of it. It's whatever moves the company forward. And that's my invitation as well, is to make a list of 5 things that really move the company forward that you could be focused on that will move your sales and your revenue forward. Does it mean you're doing all those things forever? No. Some of our team members, they hire appointment setters, they hire salespeople, they outsource some of the marketing, but they're always leading it so that they can understand it. That's where a lot of your time can probably be spent. All right. Hopefully you saw this, because really you could see where this is taking you by creating that 5-hour work week, right? You're seeing that you have less time in the day. Less time in the day means you have to focus on your genius work and delegate the rest. That's the hack inside of this. So I'm glad you stayed with me to see how I put this all together for you, right? That's the hack. When you have to delegate and you can only focus on your genius work, 5 or less hours a day, you're going to get it done. 5 or less hours a day. It's going to happen. If you're spending more time than that, I'm guaranteeing you're not delegating. And again, if what's coming up is I can't afford to delegate, the truth is you can't afford typically not to. And there's so many virtual team members in the world today who work at varying hourly rates, depending on where you are in the world, anywhere from, $8 to $10 an hour to $50 an hour, depends where you are. My first VA I hired for 10 hours per month. And that's how I started. You could hire someone for 5 hours a month just to get started, just to learn how to delegate. Because on the other side of that, and on the other side of your 25-hour work week, is the opportunity to double your sales, is taking that vacation time, and it's living the life you've been dreaming about. So again, if you want to learn more about this, we have our free webinar coming up. Come and play the 5 steps. 5 steps. We're going to break it down. We're going to do it together to create your freedom schedule, work 25 hours a week or less, and still double your monthly sales. The link is below in the show notes, and I can't wait to see you there. Bye, everybody. Make this your best month yet. See you soon. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to leave a review on iTunes so I know what you like and can create content that guides you to up-level your business even more. If you want more strategic business tips, follow me on social media. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And you can visit my website at www.ursulainc.co. I love being on this journey with you and can't wait to connect with you on the next episode. In the meantime, make this your most epic month yet.